Kendrick Lamar watched a murder when he was 5, sparked a legendary rap feud at the Super Bowl, and almost became a preacher instead of a rapper. Here are 5 insane Kendrick Lamar moments you didn't know, and trust me, you won't believe number 3. When Kendrick was just a kid, he witnessed something that changed his life forever. He was just a little 5-year-old named Kendrick Duckworth living in Compton, California. Now, Compton in the late 80s and early 90s wasn't exactly Disneyland. Gang violence, drugs, shootings, it was all part of daily life. But Kendrick got hit with reality faster and harder than most kids ever do. One day, Kendrick was playing outside his family's apartment, doing normal kid stuff, messing around with friends, kicking rocks, just having fun. Suddenly, gunshots cracked through the air. Everyone froze. Kendrick watched helplessly as a man collapsed in the street, bleeding out right before his eyes. Imagine that. You're 5, barely old enough to tie your shoes, and you've already seen someone die violently. Kendrick later admitted in multiple interviews, especially in one deep conversation with NPR, how this moment shaped him forever. He said, "Seeing that changed everything. It made me realize early on how real violence was." That traumatic event inspired a lot of the raw, gritty honesty Kendrick puts in his lyrics. So when Kendrick raps about street violence and trauma, he isn't flexing. He's actually lived it since before elementary school. Kendrick Lamar isn't the name he started with. It wasn't even his first choice. Yeah, before his massive albums and Pulitzer Prizes, Kendrick was known around Compton as K-Dot. It was a catchy nickname from his teenage days, perfect for a young rapper hustling mixtapes. Early fans knew K-Dot from his mixtapes like Youngest Head Nigga in Charge and Training Day. But around 2009, Kendrick did something unexpected. He dropped the name K-Dot completely, but why change something already known? Well, Kendrick felt the name was limiting, shallow even. He realized that K-Dot was just a nickname. It didn't capture the depth, the honesty, the raw emotion he wanted to put in his music. So Kendrick decided to start fresh and use his actual name, Kendrick Lamar. He explained in an interview, "I wanted something real, something that represented who I actually was, not a character." And it worked. Changing his stage name wasn't just cosmetic, it marked a turning point. His music became deeper, more personal. Soon after the switch, Kendrick Lamar released groundbreaking albums like Section .80, Good Kid, Massachusetts, AD City, and To Pimp a Butterfly, all critically acclaimed masterpieces. So sorry K-Dot fans, but honestly, Kendrick Lamar does have a nicer ring to it. You probably know about the infamous 2025 Super Bowl halftime show where Kendrick performed Not Like Us. But do you know the real story behind that moment when suddenly Kendrick Lamar ignites one of the biggest rap beefs in history, live in front of the entire planet? Yeah, Kendrick and Drake's feud didn't start overnight. This battle's got more drama than your favorite Netflix series, and it all began way back in 2013. See, Kendrick first stirred the pot with his explosive verse on Big Sean's song, Control. He called out almost every big rapper in the industry, specifically naming Drake, and said he was ready to murder them lyrically. It was a bold move, even for Kendrick. While many rappers took it lightly, Drake wasn't amused. He brushed it off publicly, but secretly, everyone knew it got under his skin. For years, things went quiet, kind of like the calm before a massive storm. But in 2023, the volcano erupted again. Drake dropped the track First Person Shooter, where he named Kendrick, himself, and J. Cole as hip-hop's Big Three. Sounds respectful, right? Kendrick didn't see it that way. He felt Drake was putting himself in Kendrick's league without earning it. So in March 2024, Kendrick teamed up with Future and Metro Boomin and threw subtle but sharp shots at Drake in the song Like That, calling Drake overrated and questioning his legacy. Drake didn't waste time firing back. He dropped 2 tracks, Push-Ups and Tailor-Made Freestyle, openly mocking Kendrick's style, career moves, and calling him out for being overly sensitive. But Kendrick wasn't playing around anymore. He responded aggressively with 2 fiery tracks, Euphoria and the vicious 616 in LA, exposing Drake's insecurities and accusing him of faking his persona just to gain clout. At this point, fans knew it was serious. It wasn't friendly competition, it was war. But May 2024 was when things escalated from a feud into pure lyrical carnage. Drake released Family Matters, a ruthless diss track digging deep into Kendrick's personal life, accusing him of family drama, and even questioning his relationships behind closed doors. It was shocking, personal, and crossed boundaries few expected Drake to cross. Kendrick wasn't just mad, he was furious. Only 20 minutes after Drake's track dropped, Kendrick unleashed Meet the Grahams, aiming directly at Drake's own family, making bold claims about Drake's private life, relationships, and family issues. The internet went wild, fans picking sides and social media exploding with memes, debates, and endless speculation. But Kendrick wasn't done yet. The very next day, Kendrick dropped his masterpiece diss, Not Like Us. It wasn't just a diss track, it broke streaming records and even won multiple Grammy Awards, solidifying Kendrick's dominance. Drake desperately tried damage control with another track, The Heart Part 6, but fans largely sided with Kendrick, declaring him the winner of this epic clash. Now fast forward to February 2025, the Super Bowl Zelene halftime show. Kendrick's performance had already been hyped as the biggest event of the year, but no one anticipated what he planned. In front of millions, Kendrick launched straight into Not Like Us, directly reigniting the feud with Drake in the boldest way possible on live global television. And as if Kendrick hadn't twisted the knife enough, he brought Serena Williams, Drake's high-profile ex, onto the stage as a special guest, dancing alongside him. It was savage, it was symbolic, and it was undeniably deliberate. Kendrick had just publicly humiliated Drake in front of millions on the largest stage imaginable. The performance caused such an uproar it even sparked over 100 FCC complaints from viewers saying Kendrick had gone too far. Twitter was on fire with reactions, memes flooded every platform, and Not Like Us saw its streams explode by over 400% overnight. In the aftermath, Drake faced backlash and endless humiliation, while Kendrick's reputation as rap's most fearless artist soared higher than ever. Love it or hate it, Kendrick Lamar had just delivered a lyrical knockout on the world's biggest stage, forever cementing this beef as one of hip-hop's greatest rivalries. And that, my friend, is exactly how you turn a halftime show into hip-hop history. At just 16, Kendrick nearly walked away from rap. He was ready to become a preacher. Yup, when Kendrick was 16, tragedy struck him again. One of his closest friends was killed in a gang-related shooting, and this loss devastated Kendrick. Suddenly, life felt meaningless. He began questioning everything: his purpose, his music, even his future. Kendrick's family had always been religious, but this moment pushed him deeper into Christianity. Desperate for answers, Kendrick turned to faith for comfort. He began regularly attending church, started reading the Bible, and even decided to get baptized. During this time, Kendrick genuinely considered becoming a preacher. Music seemed trivial compared to helping people spiritually, but eventually Kendrick realized music was his calling, a different kind of preaching. He decided to use his music as a platform to inspire and influence people positively. This spiritual awakening profoundly shaped Kendrick's art, influencing classic albums like Good Kid, Massachusetts, 80 City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. So when someone calls Kendrick preachy, they aren't totally wrong. After all, he nearly swapped studio sessions for church sermons. While LA was burning to the ground in the 1992 riots, Kendrick's dad went to work at KFC like it was just another day. Let's rewind back to the infamous LA riots in 1992. Los Angeles was literally burning, violence everywhere, stores getting looted, people panicking. It was chaos, straight out of a movie. And where was Kendrick's dad during this madness? Working his shift at KFC, flipping chicken. Yup, Kendrick's dad, Kenny Duckworth, was so determined to provide for his family that he didn't even take a day off during the riots. Kendrick, a kid at the time, watched the news with fear as buildings burned and violence escalated. He vividly remembers seeing his dad leave the house, knowing full well the city was dangerous. But Kenny was fearless, determined to provide even if it meant risking his safety. Years later, Kendrick spoke openly about this moment, especially in interviews and songs, highlighting how witnessing his father's resilience and bravery changed his life forever. This experience taught Kendrick about hard work, sacrifice, and the realities of growing up poor in Compton. So the next time you complain about having to work a weekend shift, remember Kendrick's dad clocking into KFC, serving buckets of chicken during one of America's most violent riots. If you thought Kendrick's story was wild, wait till you see what we've got next. Hit that subscribe button and check out the next video. We're just getting started.